Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight TV edition. I am Peter, that is Tim. We are working our way through Tales From the Crypt, the original HBO horror anthology series. This is going to be Season 6, Episode 4. It's called Operation Friendship. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. It's funny, we had a long streak of bad. We had that one really great episode a couple episodes ago. Last episode was pretty rough. So the question is does this one get us back on track? What is this episode about? It's about a character named Nelson who has an imaginary friend, basically. Maybe that's putting it too lightly. He has an alternative personality character that he sees is like this. He's almost like a little devil on his shoulder, like telling him to do various things. But he's sort of down and sort of quiet at his job, but he gets this new neighbour who's kind of like interested in him. She's just kind of asking him out and stuff. But the imaginary friend gets very jealous about this, and it's kind of about can he get rid of his imaginary friend, or will something bad happen? That is the premise of the episode. So Tim, did you enjoy Operation Friendship?
You're still here. Okay.
I really thought you were trying to squeeze out a shit there for a second. I'm like, Tim, why are you shitting on the show? I always say, if you need a minute to go shit, you can go do it before we start recording. There's no need to hold it.
How do you know I'm not on a toilet right now? Let's see. Did I enjoy this episode? First of all, I was very... I was very angry at the Crypt Keeper this episode. We're starting to enter shark season, so I get very excited for all my precious shark movies. I was talking with some people about Deep Blue Sea the other day. Excited for the sequel. The trailer for the Meg just dropped. So to see the Crypt Keeper and a bunch of fishing gear and talking about fishing stuff, I got really excited. I thought, we're gonna have some type of water-based episode, but no, obviously not.
Tim, when was the last time the Crypt Keepers segment had anything to do with the episode itself?
Never. But
your hopes, you got your hopes up over nothing, Tim. This was on you. This is you making bad choices, bad life choices.
Yeah. Jesus, this episode sucked. It's sometimes if you don't like an episode and you say like, I don't like this because it was boring or because it was, I don't know, confusing or something, or I didn't like the actors or whatever. This one's just annoying. Like, his imaginary friend is just like really bothered me. I was like, every time he talks, I was like, shut up.
I've got a positive point I want to make about this episode.
Okay. Go ahead.
I genuinely
feel weird for having an imaginary friend.
I shut up. I genuinely have one positive point to make about this episode.
Okay.
It is the one positive thing I will say about the episode.
All right.
It's not as bad as the last one.
Okay. That's fair, I guess. Gun to my head, yeah, if I had to choose. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing. It's not as like painfully terrible as like some of the really bad episodes.
Sure.
But like you say, the imaginary friend is really annoying, and you're kind of waiting for what's the point of this? Because at one point, like after they go on like the date, she's like, "Hey, I've not got anything set up. I don't want to eat alone. Do you want to come out to dinner? If you want to take me to this Chinese restaurant, we can go have dinner." And he's like, "Okay, sure." And there's some hijinks where the imaginary friend's under the table, and he's kind of like trying not to act crazy. Actually, the one little plot detail that I did kind of like, just in terms of a conceptual level, is that the imaginary friend gets scared when he finds out she's a psychiatrist because it threatens his existence. That's a fun idea. Like, the idea there is okay.
Well, here's the thing. The episode.
The episode.
Episode. I don't even know what accent that is. The episode should be about like him trying to kill like the psychiatrist or something like.
Well, that's what I thought, because after the dinner, it explains that he's not seen her in like 2 weeks. He's tried knocking on the door, but she's been missing. And I thought, did the imaginary friend take over his body and kill her because she was a threat? And then it turned out no, she was just sick, and then she's back again. And
we also get like a weird thing where the imaginary friend disappears for a while and he comes back and he talks about like he's like I've learned stuff like where did you go? Like how did you get these new powers? What the hell?
Yeah, yeah, he has a bunch of new powers because he sort of conjures up more imaginary people. He conjures up all the people from his
Yeah.
past, that like the nun at the orphanage that hated him, the bully who beat him up as a kid. Like he conjures all these people to make him freak out, and it all ends with him like it makes like Nelson throw himself out a window. It's after he's had sex with the neighbor. They're having this sweet thing, and he's arguing with him while he's still lying in bed next to her. And then he ends up throwing himself out the window. And then the ending of the episode is that he's back in work, but it's kind of like the personality of the imaginary friend is taken over, and
Yeah.
now he's this sleazy, slick guy who's got this awful sense of humor. And
And we should clarify, like he doesn't actually throw himself out the window. He basically throws like Nelson's personality out the window so that he can, I guess, take over his body.
oh sure, and even
Yeah.
more specifically, what he actually does is that Nelson dives for him, and he moves
Yeah.
out the way. Not that he's really there anyway, because he's not real. It's just a part of his personality. He's basically got two personalities, and one's like fighting for dominance.
And
Is the episode.
and it makes absolutely no sense that like I don't understand how this woman like was so interested in him when like he is doing all this crazy stuff uh like when they do this in movies where like someone's like trying to talk to someone or something that's not there and it's like the person is like 2 feet away from you, like they can definitely see this going on, like
Hmm.
and bare minimum if they can't hear you they know that like you're like turning around like you are talking to someone or like going under a table, like
It also
it's
doesn't really give you
bonkers.
any sort of conclusion to that side of things, though, because after this happens, we just cut to this
Oh
day in
sure,
work,
yeah.
and he's all sort of slick and sleazy. You never
Yeah.
actually see how it ends up with her, like, because
Mm.
soon as she comes in and says, "Hey, why did you run out of the apartment? What's up?" We don't see him be mean to her. Maybe like, that ends that there. I mean, if anything, maybe the episode should have started closer to this point, and then the episode could have been about her trying to bring the real Nelson back. Like,
Yeah.
realizing, like, because and again, it would work thematically because as a psychiatrist, she'd be like trying to like wrestle with his psyche and try and like make the real personality come back because that's who he really is, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like there's potential. There's ideas
Sure.
are in the episode that are actually not bad, but the actual story and what it decides to focus on, and more specifically what it decides to skip.
Mm.
And then on top of that, because the other personality doesn't actually do anything, he's an asshole. He's a misogynistic asshole, but he doesn't actually do anything like evil to anyone. There's no like Tales from the Crypt horror sort of like he
Yeah.
doesn't kill anyone. He doesn't like scare anyone. Doesn't like
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the other big thing for me too is the one thing that I expect from Tales from the Crypt is that you're gonna see like evil, horrible people get their comeuppance in the end. And this is like the exact opposite. It's like, oh no, like actually like a pretty
yeah.
like nice guy, which and I don't really think maybe he's like an asshole. Like if I think if anything, if he has any bad traits, it's probably because of the influence of his imaginary friend or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's
Like
the regular Nelson's not an asshole. He's a bit
yeah,
timid, but he's
yeah.
he's not an asshole. But the other
So
personalities, the problem.
yeah, it's like oh yeah, like we basically just see this like decent nice guy get I don't know, I guess pretty much killed, taken over, whatever, for no
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. There's no comeuppance. This is purely just the evil side of him wins, and that's it. That's the end of the episode. As Tim's cats are having a wrestling match.
Dude.
Dear, I know that pain all too well. Luckily, my cats are asleep. Well, one's up and about. Hopefully, it doesn't start causing trouble.
Mhm.
But yeah,
That's what
yeah,
it's like hard with like three cats. Like it's like there's always gonna be like like different cycles where like all right one will be off on its own or sleeping or something, but then there's always gonna be one that's like has energy and is running around and
hmm.
I don't know.
Two of my cats are really in sync. It's only Garrus who's the newer one who seems to sometimes be out of sync and wanting to cause chaos when they're asleep. But um, I mean, not that it's fun when all three of them want to cause chaos because that gets interesting. But hey, you can tell we like this episode enough that we've now tangented into talking about cats. Vastly more interesting subject. I mean, the actors are fine, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
the annoying personality's kind of. I mean, it's not really his fault. He's kind of written to be this annoying douchebag, so
Yeah.
I can't really fault that too much. Um,
Yeah, like I mean, if the point of him is that he is supposed to be annoying and get under your skin, then it's like mission accomplished, I guess. But I don't
Honestly, the
really
most
want to see
interesting thing
it.
about this episode that's aired in November 1994, right?
Yeah,
And the most interesting thing I think about this is that he works with computers and he is on the internet. They reference the internet
that's
multiple
true.
times, which for 1994 feels kind of weird. Which it did exist, sure, but it wasn't like a household. Everyone started having
Yeah.
internet yet, kind of thing. But not only that, at one point he says, the personality says, "Well, what's happening on the internet tonight?" And he says, "Nothing much, just some newbies." And I'm like, did the word newbie exist in 1994?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
I really didn't think it did. I thought that didn't exist until like maybe like after 2000 when like video games started being played
Yeah.
online. So that really surprised me. Him saying newbie in this.
And maybe it's like more of a like an esoteric kind of like computer term or something that uh, got more heavily used with video games or something. But
Maybe yeah.
yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's funny. I feel like computer usage in this time period is always kind of funny to me. Obviously, this one it's just kind of background stuff. That's his job, so it doesn't get into it. But this is the era where if someone's using a computer in a movie, it's probably going to be doing something really silly and unbelievable because it thinks people don't understand computers. And at the time, maybe they didn't, so they got away with it. But now it's like, no, everyone knows how to use a computer now, so it's. Well, I say everyone. There's actually a generation below us, Tim, who never touch a computer and just touch tablets, and it's weird to me.
Oh
But
wow! Oh, that is weird.
yeah,
I thought you were talking about old people because I used to use I used to work in the customer service for a bank, and oh boy, it's real fun
yeah.
trying to explain to senior citizens how to access their bank account online. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't envy that at all. Just trying to explain simple concepts to my mother when she's asking for help with something.
I love just the idea of going to a website that like all right, I'm there, and it's like, all right, are you at the website or did you just type the website into Google? Because there's a big difference.
Yep, yep. I once ran to a room with screaming, "Oh, something happened to the screen! Something happened to the screen! What happened? This has changed." I walked in, looked at it, and then I just clicked maximize, and then walked back out. That's all that happened. But it was freaking,
The
you know.
uh,
So
there's literally been like people that have called into the bank before that. Oh my god, like they were upset because they like literally put money like dollar bills into like their CD drive, like because they thought like, oh yeah, this will go into to my online banking account. It's like, Jesus, I don't even know what to do with that.
how I really don't know how I wouldn't sound condescending after like being told this.
Yeah,
Like, that
I would.
baffles me. Like it just like obviously not everyone's going to be as tech savvy as everyone else. Obviously,
Right, yeah.
we're maybe more likely to be people who are from. I mean, that's the thing. Even between me and you, there's a big gap because sometimes
Oh yeah, yeah.
you'll be like,
Yeah.
how do you do this thing? And I'm like, Tim, you use computers all the time. Learn how to do these basic functions. But I think there's just a basic amount of understanding of how to, just go to websites and use things and just understand the concept of having a login, right?
Yeah.
That it's basic information that you need to know. It's like learn to read and write. In the 21st century, you have to understand how to remember your email and your password to access an account on whatever it is, right? It's that simple. Learn people. It's like this willful ignorance. Oh no, it's just too complicated. I don't understand it. It's not that complicated. It really isn't.
No. Yeah, just have your nephew or something show you. It's easy.
Yeah, but then I feel sorry for the nephew having to explain this because it's
That's true.
This is the thing. No one ever explained to me how to do any of this. I just figured it out. That's the frustrating part.
Good point. Yeah.
No one ever taught me how to do anything on a computer. Well,
Yeah.
very little. Maybe like a couple of things here or there, but that's this wonderful thing called Google exists. You just Google how to do something, and it'll tell you how to do it, and then you can just do it. It's wonderful and self-fulfilling. It's great.
Yep.
I can't adult properly, but I can search things on Google and then follow the instructions. Is
Yeah,
that adulting in
there
the
you go.
21st century? Maybe it is. I don't know. So,
Mhm.
Tales from the Crypt. This episode kind of sucked. Didn't do a whole lot.
I mean, at the very least, it's super forgettable. Like,
Oh, sure, yeah. I won't
you know,
remember how awful it is. I'll forget this existed in a
uh,
week.
I think that's like the one thing I think once we finish the series and we do like our top 10 lists or whatever, the top 10 best are going to be really easy, but doing the worst is going to be hard because I feel like so many of them are like so forgettable that
Yeah. Well, I can
it's
see
like
us sitting down, looking through the list of episodes, reminding us what each
yeah.
one is. And I can see there's a couple in my head that I know I'm going to put in that worst list already. There's just a
Oh,
couple that I
without a
know I'm
doubt, yeah.
gunning for. Like, I hated those ones.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's just a case of how many more really hated ones we get now for the rest of the show. Because
Hmm.
we're that's 4 episodes out of season 6. We just have
Hmm.
season 7 after this. We're in the not the final stretch. I can't really say that till we're on season 7, but we're gearing up. We're getting
Yeah.
up there. So. Hey ho, that's Tales from the Crypt this week. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. If you're unfortunate enough to have had sit through it, if I can speak properly, like,
Mm.
subscribe, all the usual stuff. Give us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over at patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a link in the description. If you know how to click on a link, if you're savvy with the computers, that the kids are all using. But that's us. So thank you once again for watching. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Scary TV, and we'll see you next time.